It's beginning to look a lot like a Marauder. Find out how I'm getting on with ICM's 1/48 scale kit right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today is the second part of my build of ICM's 1/48 scale B-26 Marauder. Now, in the first program, I built the fuselage and the interior and the gun turrets. In this second program, I'm building the wings and the engines. And in the third program, I'll be finishing it off with the undercarriage and painting it and putting it into a diorama setting. Now, if you don't want to miss that or indeed any of my future content, the best thing to do, and it doesn't cost you anything, is to subscribe to the channel. If you also hit the bell, then you'll be notified every time I publish a new video. And of course, anything you do like on the channel, please do remember, give it the old imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. If you would like to make a more concrete contribution to the channel, you can do that by becoming a channel member or by using any of my online partner programs, details of which are in the information box below. Okay, let's make a start on the second part of my build of the Martin B-26 Marauder in 1/48 scale from ICM. Now, the first thing is I'm going to do putting the wings together here is this pitot probe here. If I build the wings and build the engine and build it and that's going to break. I'm going to break that off. So what I'm going to do now is snip this off, because there is a hole in the side here for location. I know exactly where it's going to go back later on. So I'm going to snip that off, take very good care of it, look after it, put it in my small spares pot, and it can go back in later on. There we go. And now I won't break it. At least I can put it back the way I want it. And this piece sits at the back like so. Then there's a piece that goes in here on the inside of the aileron track. It's inside or outside? Inside of the aileron track. There. Now, before the other half of the wing can go on, there's these two parts here, F4 and F5, need to go on. It's not obvious from here how they go on at all. So this is an example of where the the build video online is actually really useful, because I found out how they go on. If you don't want to watch the video, of course, I can show you. What happens is that these parts go through the gap here and sit in like so. Okay, so that post has got a little notch and peg on it, and they go in like that. So again, through there, then down, like so. Then the two halves of the wing are ready to go together. Get them laid up, taped up, and then you can go around them with some glue. While the wings are setting, we can do things like put all the flap and aileron components together. All of these come in two halves. That's it. Then when they're all done, the flaps and ailerons can slot into their places on the trailing edge of the wing. There's plenty of good location pins there for all of these. perfect. Then there's just a few small little bits to go in the wing, that tiny little detail parts that go in, and we're ready to go. We've just caught up with the instructions, and look what you do. You have to cut the pitot off anyway on both sides, so I needn't have bothered with that, worrying about it, because you have to cut it off anyway. So now I've just got to fill the hole in, and everything's good. What a relief. Now for this landing light, I've painted the inside with the olive green I've been using for interiors, and I've just used a bit of chrome pencil there to give it a nice shiny finish. And then the cover can go on, and it's just going to be held in place with some clear PVA glue. Then for the lights, I painted the interior like a pale blue-grey colour because it said so. I've put that chrome on the lamp itself, and I'm just going to apply a tiny bit of the ICM clear green over the top. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of ICM's clear paints because I don't think they're particularly clear, but that will do. I'll let that dry and see how it looks, then just touch up the edges of the blue and then put a cover on again with a bit of clear PVA. Onto the engines now, and the front half of the engine goes together first, and it will actually only go one way. I know there's 3 pins, but the 3 pins are arranged so it will actually only go one way round. So make sure they go together properly. And these rods go in. Valve, base of the valves, like so, all the way around. When you've done the same with the rear bank, you can put the two together and notice how the banks are staggered so one cylinder doesn't obscure the next. For the cooling airflow. So now on the gearing at the front of the engine, there's various ancillary pieces that need to go on. The axle for the propeller just sits in here. Now, if you want the props to turn, you won't be gluing this in. I don't really mind about things like that, so I've glued mine, and then the gearbox sits on top. That's a bit fiddly to get the shaft into that. There we go. There we go, like so. Then this inlet collective clips onto the back, like so. Now, to put the rear support on the engine, you have to find out which of these rocker covers has the pin in. You can see there's a little pin here, and there's not on the one here. There's only 3 who've got pins. There's one there, there's one there, and there's one over here. Those 3 pins line up with the 3 holes in the rocker, in this support, sorry, and they only go one way in. On the other side, there are also 3 pins with little rocker covers, the little extended pins. These go onto this front support here, and that doesn't, I don't think, no, it doesn't matter which way they've gone because they're spaced evenly around the ring. That's so. Now the exhaust collectors go on the back here. They are slightly different. Make sure you get them the right way around. You can tell by where the pins are for locating into these holes the pins are there far set apart. So I'll show you better. So these two holes are the locator pins, and you can see on this piece that the locator pins are really far set apart, so they belong on this side. Just on there and in there. Like so. That's the two exhaust collectors in. According to the instructions, you should be fitting these exhaust downpipes earlier on, but I just cannot get them to sit in there and be lined up correctly, so I put them in later. I just pop them in like so. So what I do is on the bottom, I just file off the pin, the alignment pin here, slot it in with this pin in place, and then just get the downpipe to sit in the right place and leave it alone. Remember also, I'm doing this, I'm never going to see most of this because the engine's going to be inside its cowling, and I'm not going to see most of this. I'm just doing this because it's there. So you could even probably leave all of those off, and you're never going to see them anyway from the front. But they're there, so it's a good practice, I guess, to fit these very small things. So there we go, that's the engine sorted out. I'm going to let all of the glue set, then I'll paint it up and I'll show you later on. Making the engine bay nacelle, there's a liner that sits in here first of all. For each nacelle there's also two of these scoops that need fitting in. Then the two scoops with the panels they're on fit onto the exterior of the engine. It's going to be a bit tricky aligning all of these, but we do it step by step. So do the bit first, and you can see that once that's grabbed, we can do the glue for these ones as well. That's fine. And there we go. One little thing I've done just to, I don't know, jazz up the kit a little bit. This is the standard exhaust pipe that comes out here. You can see it's just flat. So I've just drilled it out here at the end so it looks more like a pipe. And that's all. The exhaust pipe sits into this side of the main engine nacelle. And then the aerodynamic cover slips over the top like so. The gear door supports can go in. Again, you'll notice I've pre-painted this, and it's purely because I had some olive green in my brush and I didn't like to waste the paint. So joining the halves of the nacelles together is a bit of an issue. So first thing I'm going to do is put the front joint in. You can see there's a tiny little lip at the front edge there, so we'll put that just there, and it needs to be tacked in to the side. So tack it to the side first and then finish it in fine position here. So tack that part first. Next we have the front wall of the engine bay. So it just hooks into a tab there, and it sits against the bottom of the nacelle like that to make the end wall. And those bits are relatively straightforward. There is, however, another piece that has to go in. So this piece has to go in just here. And there's nothing naturally for it to sort of sit up against to set, so I'll hold it in place while it sets, temporarily at least. Because all these parts have got to get into their own slots on the other wall as well. So we'll get that ready. And then we're going to put the two halves together, and this was the only one that caused any problem. It was a bit of setback, so just put it into place. This one was right, this one was right, the tops and bottoms are right, everything's right. We can just tidy it up, cinch it up with bits of glue here and there, and that's ready to go on the aircraft. The minute it's dry, it can simply clip onto the wing, like so. And so off to the airbrush booth. I'm going to spray the engines with a bit of ICM black primer, and that's let down with some of their thinners as well. So here's the engine as I finish it. Now, what I haven't bothered doing is painting any of the exhaust pipes. I was thinking of doing them maybe like a slightly more burnt look, maybe rusting them up and stuff like that, but I'm going to see them. That's what I'm going to see from the front. Okay, so I've painted most of it according to the instructions. I think it's the wrong way around, but anyway, according to the instructions, I painted the most of it with gunmetal. These push rods I've put as steel. I think on the real Wasp, I think they're black. But anyway, as I said, followed the instructions. I can't remember what the instructions said about the cover, the gearing cover here, but the ones I've seen are all painted grey, with these accessories all painted grey, apart from this one at the top, which is painted black. So I've done that, and I've just given it a quick wash with some, just a bit of engine wash. It says engine wash is what it's called, just to give it a little sort of brownish, dirtyish look. I think it's actually quite nice. So that's how that's going to be. That then has to fit into the nacelle, the engine cover, like so, and it has to go in make sure it goes in quite firmly. All this would be repainted, of course, when it comes to spraying the whole aircraft, and then the whole thing will go onto the front of the wing, like so. Now, the last thing we can do before we need to start painting is to put the wheels together. Once the wheels are together, there really are only a few bits of undercarriage doors and stuff like that to do. So it's not really anything I can do until we've sprayed the aircraft, and that is going to be the subject of the next video. If I concentrate, there we go, I'll be able to put the wheels together. There you go, just glue them up. What I'm going to do is paint them like this, paint the hubs separately, then put the hubs in once they're all painted. So there it is, as far as I can go at the moment before I have to start priming and painting the whole thing. The undercarriage needs building, the wheels are done, so it's just really just the undercarriage, painting the aircraft, doing the finish, putting the turret back in, a bit of a clean up and a bit of a weather, paint the invasion stripes, and then I've got some figures I'm going to build and a base for it, but that is all for the next episode. There it is. I'm loving this kit, and I like the way it gives you a lot of options as to how much detail you actually want to put in. A lot of the interior detail you don't strictly need if you're not having the bomb bays open, for example. And the engine detail you don't strictly need if you're not having the engines on display, but they're there in case you do want to just get that razor saw out, open up a couple of the engine panels, and straight away you still have a fully featured engine, which is really, really nice, by the way, to build. So the options are yours, and I think that's a good thing. Now, if you've enjoyed the show, and I hope you have, please remember, do give it the old Imperial thumbs up on the like button below because every like counts. And to support the channel at no cost to yourself, please make sure you've subscribed. If you also hit that bell, you'll be notified of all my future content as it is published. Thank you so very much for joining me today. Hope to see you again on the channel soon. Take good care now and goodbye.